So today we're going to take a look at Sentinels versus Optic, and Sentinels yesterday played without Sick or Tens. Tens was sick, and unfortunately Sick had a family emergency. So I hope they're both doing okay, and we'll come back in time. But actually Sentinels, in their absence, we're playing with Danny, who's someone who hadn't played a pro game in like a year, and just kind of, last minute was like, yeah, sure, I'll play. And Raucus, who is their coach, of course. And that means that they put Shazam here on Jet as well on Bind. And they actually did pretty well. I'll be honest. They actually did pretty well overall. And we're going to take a look at some of the rounds where they did do pretty well. I mean, this is an impossible situation to ever win. But had they not been playing against Optic, I think they legitimately could have won this map. And that, they're going up against the best team in NA, I would say by quite some way as well. So had they not been playing against the best team in NA by quite a way, they might have really actually won a map here, which is quite incredible, really. To play with two subs, on last minute notice is absolutely incredible. So let's take a look at some of the rounds that they won. And we'll start here with round number 1. And what Sentinels are going to do in this round is they're going to start towards this B site. They're going to get a dart in here. We can see we get a sky flash down here as well, but we get this early dart and they start to take some early control of this B side of the map. They're also going to run into Hooky here as well. They're going to destroy this chamber trap. They send a drone up towards Long as well. We get the dog in in response. We also get a sky dog coming in as well. And this is something I've seen Sentinels do before, where you're creating a lot of pressure by having both the drone and the dog come through here. The dog obviously clears all of Hooker for them. This drone is going to clear most of Long for them. These two players are going to be pushed back pretty early, and you'll see that they also go and destroy the chamber trap. The Viper gets hit by the sky dog, and so they start to come in. Now, the next thing we're going to see is Victor come through the teleport. He is going to get one kill, but then gets traded out. The thing is, though, Dapper just hasn't stopped pressing W, and I think Crashies is a bit taken surprised by that, and so he manages to get this kill as well. And then very, very quickly, they're going to decide to rotate. This is something that I was quite impressed with sort of, you're playing with two subs, but the speed of thought here, was very good. And, everyone was very much with it. And so Marv hears that, he puts down his Brim Molly, and, Sentinels do get delayed by that, but they're going to still try to push towards this A site. But again, the speed of thought is going to be pretty good here as they send a dart in towards the site. They then see Ye over here, right, on the chamber. And so they see Ye. And so again, very quickly, they have a good idea, right? They've seen both the Brim here now, and now you've seen Ye on the chamber. So instantly they decide, well, let's just go for the TP, right? We'll take the 4-on-1, even if the Viper is there. The Viper actually isn't there. There's no one there. But even if there were, right, it'd be a 3v1. They leave Dapper there in the TP. You take a 3v1, particularly on a pistol. Ye ends up in this 1v1 that Shazam's able to win with his Sheriff. And now we end up in this situation. The one thing they do wrong here, I guess, would be that Dapper's obviously watching in the teleporter, and so he doesn't see that Marv has come from behind. And so, they have no idea that Marv is really here. And so Shazam, dies basically for free. But whilst that's going on, they are able to find this next kill on FNS as well. Campeki is able to take out FNS. And then we end up in this pretty hilarious situation where, now they know where this last player is. They're dancing around a bit here. Dapper, he's just running around basically. And eventually he's going to do something that's quite funny because he's going to get his knife out, throw his gun down, and Marv, takes a shot and looks a bit confused, but then realizes what's going on. They have a knife battle. Marv is able to win this. Campeki then tries to join in the knife battle, but Marv isn't playing, and he gets the last kill on Raucus as well. Obviously, a bit of a left there to end round 1. But actually, this is going to be pretty important for round 3, as I will show you now. And now let's come to round number 3. And what we've got going on in this round is, again, similar thing. This is obviously the bonus for Sentinels here, so they don't have the great guns. They're going to drone up towards Long and, see that no one's really close, so they decide to take that space. They then do get flashed, but now they're just going to chill in this area. The problem that they have, though, is Marv, because Marv, as you can see, is pushed all the way out of showers, and now, is looking towards A and has kind of cleared this entire A site. So with worse guns, they're pushing into 4 people. But Sentinels just do this every so often, and I've seen them actually do this exact thing on Long here, on Bind, where they just kind of stack up towards Long and just find kills out of nowhere. They're really quite good at it, and so they're going to just do, a site execute, and it's actually not going to start off great. So they send in a flash, as you see there. They start to come in. They're going to get a really nice Omen flash from Danny as well here. FNS is very lucky to live, and he just gets behind the box in time. But now they are going to start to die as they come in onto the site. So you see Shazam dashes in there. He's actually put a smoke in front of this Omen smoke as well, which is how he's going to be able to sneak past this Skye without the Skye really noticing. So Ye is able to get the first one, and they find a second one as well, but they trade out Ye there. Danny finds that trade, and then Shazam, because he's managed to get much further up, he's then able to get this kill, and Danny's able to get another kill as well. Unfortunately, this is what we were looking at from the observers, but then the smoke fades. As you can see, Crashies had no really idea what was going on because of that smoke, and so we end up in this 2v2. And then what's going to happen is Dapper's going to drop down here, but Shazam's going to be able to trade it out. And now you see why this Brimble is quite important, because without this Brimble, they probably do get the spike down. But it's a very well-placed Brimble from Marv. But as you see, had Marv not got those last 3 kills in that pistol round, this round could have gone pretty easily the other way. We would have ended up in a 1v1 with the spike down pretty much, where Shazam also had a rifle, as you can see. So this was a really good bonus, though, nevertheless, from Sentinels, and overall was another really nice round from them where, they managed to find those kills. That jet smoke was pretty big in front of that Omen smoke. I kind of like that as an idea, and Shazam using that as a way to, really stop anyone in Elbow getting involved in the fighting, as we saw. And yeah, it was a good round for Sentinels, even though they didn't manage to win it. They had a lot going for them in this round. But now let's come to round number 5. And unfortunately for Sentinels, they wouldn't win another attacking round, and this would end as a 10-2 half. And I think some of the problems weren't even necessarily to do with the fact that they had 2 subs. Obviously, that is going to be a massive problem for them. And Optic are a very good defensive side, so that's another massive problem for them. But another problem I think they have is still with this comp, and this round I think is a good example of that, because we're going to get these 2 Omen smokes here from Danny. He's going to smoke B, and they have been, kind of sort of simulating some B pressure. They got a bit of control of long and whatnot, but as we can see, they're actually going back to A, and they see here that 2 Seekers go towards A and 1 comes back towards B, and you see that these players actually started to rotate off those Omen smokes. But we're just going to see the problem they have with this comp in terms of, they've used this as a bit of a fake, but they really struggle to get the spike down here, and you'll see what I mean, because as we run this forward and they start to come in on towards this A site, they get delayed by the Chamber Slow and the Raise ult and the Brim Molly here, so they do get delayed and the rotates start to come in. But still, even in this moment here, really, there isn't too many people ready to fight. There's basically still only the 2 players, and you still have all 5 of your players here. You would think that this would be a situation where you could get the spike down. The thing is, though, they have no smokes, right? They just use those 2 smokes on the Omen, and this is why one reason I think that the Brim, if this was a Brim, you could run that fake on B and still have 1 smoke. Maybe you put it in the middle here of the boxes, and that just gives you enough to maybe get the spike down. Or obviously, if you're playing a Sage, you just wall it off, and that gives you the spike down, right? I do think that with this Omen pick, it has its advantages, but it also does come with a bit of a disadvantage in this situation. And so you see, from this moment on, even though, they had a lot of control and they were in a 5v2 for quite a while, they're just not quite able to get the spike down. And they really struggle with it. They lose Raucous there to Ye in Heaven. And now they're going to struggle, right? I would say to Danny here, he does have a smoke down. So, I would ideally like to, maybe try and get into a safe position to use that smoke. But you see, the idea that they then have is to try and, push with Kampeki. They feel like we're in a 4v5. We can't get the spike down, as I say. We need to just make a play here. So Kampeki tries to run forward, and then he gets naded at the worst time possible. They try and flash out for him, but he dies to Victor with the spike there. And then from here, they're just going to get mopped up, which is unfortunate. But yeah, you see some of the sort of comp problems that they had perhaps in this round as well. But now let's come to round number 16, because while Sentinel's attacking side didn't go great for them, their defensive side actually looked pretty good at times. And there was a moment in this game where actually I think myself and a lot of others were like, hold on, are they going to actually make this comeback and win this map? And it starts here really with round number 16, and this was a really nice idea. You can see that the guns on Optic aren't great, even though this is kind of the 4th round of the second half. The reason for that is again, Sentinel's bonus round, they came very close to winning it again. They won the pistol, obviously won the second, and then almost won the third as well. So you can see that Optic, it didn't go great for them at the start, but let's take a look at at this round. And so you can see here that, again, Optic are just coming towards this B site, and we've got Ye pushed up really far. And I'm sure that Ye is basically saying, like, oh, look, I've managed to walk up all this way, right? Like, there might not be that many people on B because I've walked up this far. But really, this is a really nice little setup from Sentinels, because really, they're just, Raucous is here, and he's just waiting to dart. Right, he's literally just waiting to dart off Shazam's contact, right? And they've got Dapper here just hiding behind this box as well, ready to swing out. So they're smoking this off here in Hooker. They're just going to wait for someone to eventually walk up there. Shazam will take the first fight. Dapper will swing off it. The dart will come off as well. And, well, it works really, really well, as you're about to see. But you can see Raucous here. He's just literally sitting there, you know, just dart out, waiting to dart. You know, he's just not moving, just there to dart. That's all he's really there for. There he goes again. And so eventually what we're going to see is Ye is like, you know, it's awfully quiet here. I guess I will just, you know, take a quick walk up. But, you know, and that's what they start to do as Optic begin to come towards the site. We get the smoke and Hooker again to protect Shazam. He manages to find that first kill, and he's able to jump back up into the smoke. And that's the cue for Raucous to send this dart up there. As you can see, it scans them. Dapper swings out. They die, right? And then he is able to kill Shazam here, Victor, but Dapper then swings nicely there off that as well. FNS just has to drop down out of the smoke. Really, really nice setup from Sentinels there. You know, I mean, even with 2 subs, this is like really impressive. I mean, I know one of them is their coach, so I guess that does help with these setups, I guess, when one of the subs is your coach. But, you know, it was a really nice setup, and they played this really well. And now let's come to round number 18, and this one is a really fascinating round, and again, Sentinels are going to have a great little idea. It's really started all towards Shout here, where there's been a lot of pressure. There's been a lot of bodies kind of in this area where, you know, they Optic have dogged up here. Shazam's killed it. They sent a boombot in towards Shower as well. They destroyed that as well. And Shazam is still just posted up there with the op. But he seemed to have a very good idea. I don't know if it's Shazam or whether it was Raucous or someone else. They had a very good idea of what Optic are going to do, because they got Marved into this position here. I don't think Shazam was really aware of it, because he doesn't ever really look at him. As you can tell, the arrow is kind of pointing down here. But they just seem to know. For whatever reason, they seem to have a very good idea of knowing that Optic were gonna go to B and not push Shazam on the op. Which, I mean, I guess is fair enough, right? Like, you know, they've already used the dog and the boombot, which are 2 ways, you know, to try and scare the op off that angle. So it does make sense. And they send this flash down here, and I think it just does just about catch this raise, because you can see they start pinging it down here. And they come up with a really fascinating idea. Raucous gets a bit lucky that he ends up jumping across this and Ye isn't able to hit him, but now they've seen Ye is up here and Hooker as well. So again, that's just kind of extra info coming out there as well. They decide to dog down here as well. It gets destroyed. And now take a look at the idea they have, because Raucous jumped across there so that he can go and ult. This is a really nice idea. They hear people start running up towards them here. They send out the flash, out comes the ult, and they absolutely destroy them. Look at that for a cool idea, right? And then at this point, they were just feeling themselves. You know, Kampeki just swings out on Ye and is able to find that next kill as well. Really, really nice idea by Sentinels on the whole. And as I said, they just seem to have a very good idea there of everyone was already rotating back to B before Optic really had made too much noise that they were actually going that side. So, you know, very good read by Sentinels there. And then the idea was really cool as well. They seem to know exactly, you know, what to do in that scenario. They timed it perfectly as well, and just mopped up in this round. So a really nice round from Sentinels. And now let's come to the very next round. And this round perhaps shows a bit of a problem that Sentinels might have, to be honest, because they're going to mop up in this round. And I think it was this round where, you know, myself and I think others started to be like, oh my god, they might win this thing. Because even though it's a save for Optic, just take a look at what happens. Because Shazam is feeling himself on this jet up. And this is what I mean, like, it could be a bit of a problem, because he manages to hit that shot right on FNS. And as I said, it might be a bit of a problem, because obviously they have Tens who's always going to really be playing jet with the op. And so, you know, it's a bit like, well, you kind of can't both do it. So, you know, that kind of is a bit of a problem for them, I guess. But as I said, they're just going to mop up. And I know it's against a save, but Optic actually end up taking a timeout after this round. And I think the reason was Chet was panicking, thinking, if we lose to a team who's got 2 subs on the day, I mean, Danny hits that shot as well, which is pretty insane. But if we lose to a team that's using 2 subs, that they didn't even really, you know that they were going to have to do that until probably today, that's really not that great. And as you can see, they just mop up in this round, and it was really nice from Sentinels. And yeah, at this point, they were really starting to feel it, and you really started to feel like, oh my god, they might actually win this map. But unfortunately, it didn't quite happen, and we end here on round number 21. where Optic will win the match. And we end up in this scenario here, where again we've got pressure towards B. And this is actually kind of what I was talking about with the Omen thing before. We're actually going to see kind of the inverse, where the Brim does still have that one smoke. Starts with this Sky ult, right? And Optic kind of look as if they're about to go back, but this one of them goes back towards here, and that kind of sells the idea that, oh, there are still people around B, they are still going to go B, and they use 2 of the 3 Brim smokes as well. And you can see that Raucus initially started to come back, but then he decides to come back to A, and actually Optic are going to go towards this A site, and they're going to use their Viper setup. They've just had the drone spot Ye here in shower as well, so you can see that the rotates start to come in for Sentinels, so they have a good idea. Danny sent a flash down here, and it was just a tiny bit too early. Very, very unlucky for him, because Victor is about to just take him out here with a very nice shot there. So we end up in this situation here, but as I was talking about, the Brim still has this one smoke left until you are able to smoke this off, which just gives you that like extra tiny bit of control. You know, allowing them to get a bit deeper into the site, allowing this Viper's Pit to go down. And we'll see Raucus here just can't quite find that shot there on Ye, and Ye punishes him for it. But Shazam is able to trade it down, but now unfortunately they have the Viper's Pit, and this is going to be really well played by Crashies, because Shazam starts to spam into the Viper's Pit here, and so he uses that time to, you know, swing out on him and find that kill as well. They find Kampeki trying to make a play in the Viper's ult, and it ends up with Dapper here on his lonesome in a 1v4, and Optic will close out this map and win it against Sentinels. But overall, I thought that this was actually a really good showing from Sentinels. I think that they showed, you know, a lot of kind of decent play overall. I was really impressed with the fact that, you know, 2 subs coming out of nowhere, including a coach and a player who hasn't played in a year, that they were really able to make this somewhat competitive against, in my mind, clearly the best team in NA. And as I said, if they played against someone else, they really might have won this map. And maybe, I mean, if they would have won the match, that would have been absolutely insane. But yeah, they really did well considering the circumstances.